away from the Jamaican theatre scene for more than a decade. A comedian, Tony Paleface Hendriks. He is back on the stage in a big way. Now, Tony, welcome to Chatterbox officially.
Thank you.
You've seen some of the craziness.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts?
Fantastic.
Okay,
it looks
good.
absolutely magnificent. You ladies just all in a box chattering.
Love that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that.
We could star on a show or a production.
Please,
Okay.
please, please,
Yeah?
please.
Ooh. Paleface and Chatterbox.
That's it.
That's so good though.
Three in a
That
nest.
just came to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
cuckoo in a
came up
nest.
with that by herself. Yeah.
I'm in awe.
But I missed you though, Tony. I mean,
I
one day you were
know.
there, the next day you weren't. What happened? What you did there?
Hold on.
In
First of all,
plain Jamaican
how
terms?
many years ago
Yeah.
That's
did
from
you disappear?
2001.
Decade and a half, really. More or
Wow.
less. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Where were you?
Well, I think the best way of putting it is if you grow bananas in this country, you have to export them to really make money.
Got you.
And doing comedy and working and doing everything I was doing here in Jamaica, I'd buy me a nice car.
Okay,
But
nice.
I decided I want to buy a nice house.
Okay.
So I went overseas and I moved to London and I was working in the UK and buy a house that way. So, and I
Wow.
mean, you have to. You just kind
What
of
were
have
you
to.
doing in the UK?
Stand-up comedy. That was the main thing. I wanted to concentrate more on the stand-up. Here I was doing a little bit of TV, a little bit of advertising, theatre, and stand-up as well. But there were sort of limitations, and at the time then, there weren't as many opportunities for
Right.
stand-up comedy shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of the corporate work that you could do.
Right.
But by going to the UK, I could work in the comedy clubs on
Nice.
a regular basis. And that was my initial goal. And I'm blessed I was able to achieve that and tour all over. I mean, I was working constantly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So before I ask you what brings you back to Jamaica, if you're having such a fantastic time, what is the difference between performing for a Jamaican audience versus the UK audience? Because we hear that we're the toughest audience.
Yes.
So why you decide to come back to Jamaica to perform for a tough crowd?
Well, I think that there's differences. It's kind of like if you leave too far from the server,
Right.
you know,
Right.
if it's a flow server, you know, and you get like, you're too far away, you go down to like one bar.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that when you're
See what you
overseas
did
in the
there?
UK.
Yeah, hi, you saw that. You saw that.
Absolutely. and I wanted to come back, really. I mean, Jamaica, I've been coming back every year.
Okay.
And it's home. It's where my people are. And it's something that I just wanted to do. And it got to a time with both my wife and myself where we said, all right, we've come here. We've achieved certain things that we set out to do. If, you know, even if you win the rat race, you're still a rat. You set out to do certain things. I'm very blessed. I do what I love, and I love what I do. But if you get into situations where you start going, you miss home. I missed home. I missed home a
Yeah.
lot. And it was time for us to come back over this side. And certain other circumstances kind of happened. We lost a lot of the older generation within the family, so there were less
Okay.
responsibilities in different parts. So we said, all right, let's move back over this side.
Okay.
Come home. Now, in answer to your question about the tough crowds and
Right.
stuff
Yes.
like that,
Yeah.
I've always likened, even when I was in the UK, when I was playing to what we call the mainstream audiences, where there's a lot more salt than there is pepper.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Right.
Even with a
I
little
love
curry
it. Salt
powder.
more
Right,
than pepper.
right.
Thank you. And then you go to places like Hackney Empire, for instance, or the Drum in Birmingham, where there's a lot more pepper.
Oi.
You know, which is good.
Right.
That was more like playing a home game,
Of
to use
course.
a football analogy.
Yes.
Right.
And so, because people over there, who are Caribbean people over there, they want to hear stuff that is
Yes,
relevant.
authentically for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I think that part of that, that's great. But coming back here, yeah, I think that Kingston is a tough audience,
Yeah.
you know. But then that's where I started. That's what I thrived on in
Yeah.
the initial stages. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's what you have to
And you
come
need
back and do.
material. You need nowadays relevant material as well.
Dear, there is always things, you know. I
Right.
mean, there's a whole heap of things, you know. Everald Warmington's finger. I mean, that
Oi.
is a gift from the comedy
Oi,
gods right here.
oi.
When you,
You know?
when you look at comedy in Jamaica right now, I mean, 10 years ago before you left, as you said, you know, there wasn't a lot of opportunities. But when you look at it right now, you see the players in the game. What are your
Absolutely.
thoughts on it?
Well, as with anything, in 15 years time or a decade and a bit, you know, there's a whole new generation
Yes.
of audience
Yes.
for a
Right.
start. So people who were 4 and 5 are, you know, their 20s
Adults
now.
now, right.
Exactly. IT and Fancy Cat, they were just starting out back in those days, and now they're definitely the boom. Chris Daly, all of these guys, Iceman, Lemon, all these people are really, really strong. And that's
Right.
great, because I personally feel that as someone who was, I suppose, making a little bit of headway with TV shows
Yeah.
and
Right,
various
right.
things, they have come through and they've made it their own,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
I mean, they're
exactly.
people with natural talent, the Elvas and whoever it is, you know. I mean,
Right.
there are too many to really mention all the
Yeah.
way through and everything. And you guys, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you're very funny, very funny. You should know it's true. You should see them off camera. It's absolutely hilarious. Backstage, warrior!
Oh my God, you can't let us know the secret.
I
But,
know.
but it's also fantastic to have that there is more of an industry,
Yes.
Right.
you know, and and I think there's a a change, a sea change in people in Jamaica. I think that 15 years ago, everybody was looking overseas. We have to move. We have to do this.
Got you.
And I think everybody should go overseas because you realize what we have back here.
Yeah,
Sure.
appreciate,
You appreciate it more,
You
absolutely.
appreciate it.
And I think people have also changed their viewpoint in that people, we appreciate and we're proud of our culture more now. And I think that's a strong and important thing, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I do hear people say, this would never happen in England. You are go to England and find out. Trust me.
Samson and Di
The
Liar.
liar.
The liar.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Good.
Because we know the story about Samson and Delilah.
Yeah, no, this is a different
This is
story.
the Jamaican
altogether.
version?
No, not
Okay.
at all. Not even
What is
close.
it?
What it is was initially Bello, Winston Bell from
Yeah.
Bello and Blacker.
Right.
You give a man a fish he'll eat for a day, give a man a
Right.
laptop, him write a play, right? I was having a conversation.
Remix.
Sweet, that's
I was
it.
having a conversation with Bello and he said he had an idea, he wanted to write a play. So I happened to have a laptop which I wasn't happy with and so I give it to him and I said, just you use that and you just write that. And I went
Yeah.
and bought another one. And he brought these two characters together and created a situation with two homeless characters, one from uptown, one from downtown, and everything turned upside down.
Wow.
So them come together.
Sounds
So
like a good
Ricky
time.
wrote it. Yeah, no, it is. It's a lot of fun. So Ricky Rowe and I rewrote it. We added stuff, music, a whole heap of different things, and we came up with this show.
How did it go though? I mean, what was the reception
Well,
like?
the reception, first of all, we did it in England. We did it in England in the places that we were talking about where there's more pepper than salt. So
Yes.
we did
Right.
in South London and then up in Birmingham and Leicester and places. It was so fabulously received.
Nice.
We knew we had to bring it home
Yes.
to Jamaica. And,
Yes.
you know, coming home to Jamaica has really, I think it's proven that we were
Yeah.
right to do exactly that, you know.
Can I paint a picture for you?
Please.
Yes, go ahead.
You're a comedian on stage, right? And you've rehearsed this joke. It's gonna be your best joke, the best joke of your entire life. And you're waiting at home. You say, boy, when I hit the stage, you see, man, when I give this joke, you see, everybody going to turn over laugh.
Mash up.
And you go up there, you say, people, and you deliver the joke.
And nothing
And
happens.
you're in
Cricket.
silence.
Sagebrush.
What you do?
Well, listen, this is, well, it happens to everybody. It's like
And
riding a bicycle. You're
has it
supposed to
ever
fall off.
happened to you?
Of course.
Okay.
You
What
must-
did you do,
you
though?
must drop on your back foot or whatever it is. And of course, it happens to everybody. In the early days, you learn from it. And in the later days, it can still happen to you. You never know when it's going to happen.
Right.
But
You
how
never
do you
know.
make a comeback from that though, Tony?
Well, in the early days, someone said to me, so if something like that happens,
Yes.
you just change gears and you go somewhere else. Well, that's fine. In the early days, that was the only joke I had. so, you know, you're kind of ashamed.
Exactly.
And I think that's what puts a lot of people off comedy. You get the rejection.
Right,
So that kind of
because
thing
you're
happens.
coming up with your best joke. So
Right.
how can people not laugh to
But you
it?
can't rely on one thing. You
Okay.
have to go with the flow. And when I saw you, I guess it was a few episodes ago, when you were doing the thing with, listen, and then think about the answer and you give
Right.
it back out when you're dealing with the Miss World thing and everything
Right.
like that. I must say congratulations. You were fantastic.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, yes.
You're a trip.
But seriously, that's what you have to do. If you're on
Okay.
stage, you have to have a lot of material. You have to change gears. You have to find out. You
Right.
can't rely on one thing. You
Right.
have to make
So
moves.
if I get the joke and they don't laugh, I said they don't laugh, no people laugh, no gonna lift me up as a stand up
Or
so
just
and
start
don't
laughing
laugh.
at yourself. Maybe that will help.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you know what? I mean, to be honest with you,
Maybe. That would work as well.
sometimes there's nothing you can do. The people just
Right.
look upon you and they make up their mind that them don't want to laugh at anything you say. Sometimes you make a joke about that and you move on. But also you shouldn't be too restricted in saying
Right.
this is the one joke I have to say.
Okay.
And I think if you can, you'll find a lot of things to talk about. If you can talk about things that literally happen to your way
Yeah.
on the way to the show or whatever it is.
But we could talk to you
Well,
all day.
I know, right?
we
Seriously.
could talk to you all
And
day.
I would really love to hear that joke, but we don't have the time.
No.
I would like to hear the joke that he hears crickets from, but okay.
No. That's not a long time.
Exactly.
That's not a long time.
That's the classic.